need to get a close-up of this.
Truly thought that with the resources they had at the time, they were doing good.
That's who's helping.
Wow. And that's exactly why I travel without my brain.
You're fine. Yep, no problem. Thank you. Did you say on this ticket has the address too?
Yes.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Wow. This is from the administration building. The fire destroyed everything else.
It's pretty grand.
It is. So we're in the basement of the sanitarium. These lights keep going on and off for some reason. And this chair right here was out in the middle. I had to push it back to the wall, and then went out to the middle again by itself. I'm just saying it might be time to leave. So those are not massage chairs.
It's a barber chair.
It's like an Adirondack gone wrong. Whoa. Is this the torture room?
No, this would have been for hydrotherapy. They lowered people into like freezing cold water and or
Super
scalding
hot
hot
water,
water.
Like in that
Yes.
Nurse Ratched?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This for stretching people out?
I'm not sure. Treadmill is a torture device.
Yeah.
I have felt that way at times.
All this rudimentary machinery. It's so interesting that at the time they thought they were helping people.
Yeah. What? So this was an x-ray shield that the doctor would have stood behind when taking an x-ray of someone, and then this is what they would have used to read the x-ray, and the gloves to handle it.
Oh, that's a weaving loom.
Yeah. So they talked about in the little introductory film, a lot of the patients actually did work while they were at the asylum.
So the men did the farming and the women did the weaving and sewing?
Yeah. It was occupational therapy to try and help them, I guess, gain skills for when they were going to leave the asylum.
Arts and crafts.
Well, that is a huge collection. It's a chest drainage unit. I'm like, if you're peeing that much, ew.
I need you to fill this up for me, sir.
We're gonna be here a while. We're down in the morgue. Oh, Jesus. Would you like to perform an autopsy?
This room screams of mental illness. Ma'am, is this your son?
No. A Pyrex brain storage jar, as opposed to the Pyrex that I use to cook. It's good that we're distinguishing between the two.
Look, that's what killed him.
It's a bullet hole.
Bullet hole to the heart.
So this display is of 1,446 items that were removed from a female patient's stomach during her autopsy. She had what's called pica, which is a desire to eat objects, swallow them.
Inedible.
Inedible objects, yes. She died from having eaten all of this in 1910 while here at the St. Joseph Hospital.
We've got bobby pins, nails, salt and pepper shaker lids, buttons, fork handles, thimbles, rocks.
Ton of safety pins. Lots of nails.
Wow, how do you get some of this
Oh,
stuff
here
down?
we go. Here's the actual contents.
Looks like a nice mosaic.
Well, they laid it out very nicely. It's a lot. There's 105 safety pins. This would have been a room similar to rooms that they would have used to perform lobotomies. In the United States, approximately 40,000 people were lobotomized. And they felt like it really would help cure certain mental illnesses by kind of damaging that part of the brain or shutting that part of the brain down. Obviously, we've since learned that it is not an effective treatment for mental illness, but...
So, this is interesting. In 1848, Phineas Gage was using dynamite to remove obstacles for the railroad in Vermont when a spark ignited explosives, driving a large steel rod through his left cheek and out the top of his head. So something like this is what he would have looked like because of something like that. That large rod. And they were actually able to save his life, and that's what he looked like afterwards.
These are some of the tools that were used for these types of surgeries. And these are fever cabinets. They were designed to raise patient body temperature above 105 degrees, which we all know is extraordinarily dangerous nowadays. They cured many people of syphilis, but were terribly uncomfortable and sometimes caused burns. Risky and tortuous fever therapy was replaced by penicillin in the late 1940s. Seems like a much better approach. I can take an antibiotic, or I can have you boil me alive. Electroconvulsive therapy was used to treat mental illness starting in 1938. In the early years, the patient was awake and suffered painful and scary side effects. The use of ECT declined in the 1970s and 1980s because of the impression that ECT was used as a punishment. It's still actually used today to treat severe depression and is thought to be more effective and safer than antidepressant medications. It's performed in an operating room today with the patient under anesthesia, and the strength of the electricity is carefully measured to get the most benefit and least risk. So this is kind of an example of something that has evolved over the years and become more humane and probably much more effective. This is an ECT machine from 1982. Another treatment that they used to perform was insulin coma therapy, in which Dr. Manfred Sackel believed the insulin coma therapy would help those with schizophrenia. It would reset the electrical activity of the brain. It was used between the 1940 and well into the 1960s. You'd inject the patient with insulin and monitor the treatment, and patients would go into a deep coma. And to bring the patient out of the coma, glucose was poured through a tube, run from the nose to the stomach. The risk was that patients would be harmed if their blood sugar dropped too low or if they were not revived soon enough. Treatment resulted in 1 death for every 100 patients, and this treatment's no longer used in the United States.